Hi, welcome to Tuesdays with Tara. I'm Tara Bundance, and today I'm going to talk about trust. So, what do you feel about trust? Do you trust yourself? Do you trust your own inner guidance and your own inner voice? Do you listen to others to help you determine what you believe in or what you trust? And so, this is a little bit of what I'm going to talk about today. And one of the things that I'd like to talk about more than anything is finding a way to trust yourself more than you trust the opinions of others. Now, the main reason I have chosen this conversation is because it's coming up lately a lot in conversations that I'm having with my friends and with my family and even with myself. And what I've had to learn over the years through all of the work that I've done is that the inner voice knows more than anyone else knows about you. And so your inner voice is going to guide you in a healthy direction more often than someone else's opinions or suggestions will. Now, that's not to say that we shouldn't turn to anyone else for help and support. What it means is it's really up to us as individuals to decide what works and what doesn't work for us. Today, I'm going to take you through a focus wheel. And before we do that, I'm just going to talk a little bit about what it means to start learning how to believe in yourself. So last year, I started walking around saying, I believe in myself, I believe in myself, I believe in myself as my affirmation for the year. I didn't believe in myself at the beginning of the year. And there's a lot of reasons why. I believed in myself around some things, but I didn't believe in myself around all things. And part of that is because I've made choices in the past that weren't so healthy. I've looked back on those choices over the years, and what I've realized is that I'm using those to determine whether or not I should believe in myself or trust myself, as opposed to all the positive, good, healthy choices and decisions that I've made. So I've started looking back over the years at all the healthy choices and decisions that I've made. And I've realized that even my negative choices and decisions have led to positive things, most of them. And so to believe in myself, that means that I have to be willing to recognize that when I make a choice that doesn't work out for me, I can make a new choice and a new decision and not judge myself based on my past choices and decisions, but use those to help determine how to make better choices moving forward. So, trusting my inner voice, trusting my inner guidance, trusting my inner self has everything to do with listening to my feelings, listening to my emotions, paying attention to my inner gut, the red flags. I didn't even understand what red flags were until I started doing therapy many years ago. So once I started doing the therapy and hearing this word, this phrase, red flags, red flags, red flags, I really, it took me a while to understand what that meant until I started noticing them showing up or popping up from time to time when I'd be talking to someone that I didn't feel comfortable with. I'd feel this fluttering in my gut, or I'd feel something in my heart kind of press in on my heart, or I would even hear a voice in my head that would say something's not right here. Red flags. Oh, that's what that is. So instead of just, running away, I would start paying attention more to what the person was saying. And I would listen more deeply and intently from my heart, from my gut, from the little inner voice that's saying something's not right, and stop talking. I would personally stop talking and listen more because people teach us how to treat them. We teach people how to treat us. And the way we do that is through our words and actions. So if I'm saying something to someone and I'm lying or I'm making things up, then basically what I'm doing is I'm teaching them that it's okay to talk to me through lies and making things up. And it's a weird juxtaposition concept idea around I create my reality with my thoughts. So if I'm putting energy out a certain way, I'm basically putting it out there to the universe that it's okay for me to receive energy the same way. It's the ripple effect. So if I'm dropping a rock in the puddle or the pool that says I'm untrustworthy, boom, 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 it ripples out and then it comes back. I'm calling untrustworthy people into my life, into my reality. So this is not to say necessarily that everything that happens to me is all my responsibility, only my responsibility. We each have responsibilities in all the choices and decisions that we make. And then the other people that come into our lives also have responsibility for those actions and those experiences. But what I am saying is that if I'm putting an energy out there that I can trust myself, then what I'm doing is I'm calling energy back to me that says, I can trust you because I can trust myself. If I'm listening to my inner guidance, I'm listening to my inner voice, I'm listening to my gut instinct, those red flags, those messages, then I'm basically trusting myself enough to know this person I can't trust, or I don't really understand how to believe what this person is saying in this moment. If I trust that, then I make choices and decisions based on that inner voice and that inner trust. Then the only people that I'm willing to allow into my reality on a consistent basis are people who can be trusted. Okay, so this is a really deep conversation that leads me to going ahead and bringing in the focus wheel. So, focus wheel is a tool that I've been using for a little over a year now. And it's a tool that was created by Abraham Hicks. And it's all about taking your beliefs from one end of a spectrum to another end of a spectrum. So if I have a belief around my trust in myself, around relationships, whether it's to people, to money, to environment, to experiences, or anything, my trust in myself around how I choose to have relationships with anything and anyone else in my life. And if I haven't really had a lot of trust around myself making the right choices in relationships, then it leads to unhealthy experiences that I get to learn from, I get to choose to grow from and evolve from. And at the same time, if I can learn to better trust myself, then I'm creating a reality that I'm building more trust in my relationships and that I can trust the people that I'm bringing into my life and the experiences that I'm bringing into my life and the money that I'm bringing into my life. So I've had a fairly simple relationship with money that has allowed me to feel comfortable and safe with just enough. What I need is a better relationship to money. This may be a focus wheel that you do for trust around a partnership, trust around how you show up in relationships, whether it's friendships or love relationships or children or your boss or your employees or anybody else that you may be struggling with some trust around. So what this focus wheel is going to help me do, and hopefully going to help you do as well, is start learning how to trust your inner voice, your inner guidance around your relationships with others. So the first thing you're going to do to join me in doing this focus wheel is you're going to draw a circle right in the middle of your paper. The next thing you're going to do is draw a circle around the center circle on that same piece of paper. Next, you're going to draw diagonal lines to the corners of your paper. And the last thing you're going to do in creating your focus wheel is draw lines coming straight down like a cross on the sides and top and bottom. So your focus wheel is going to look like this. And then we're going to start writing some things onto the focus wheel. So your focus wheel is a way to get from point A to point B, as I stated before. And the way we do that is we have to get onto the focus wheel. And first we need to figure out what the issue is. So what's the issue? What's the discomfort? Where is the struggle happening? For me, it's been around trusting myself in my relationship to others, including money. So, what I need to put in the center circle is the affirmation that I want, the desire that I'm seeking. And so, you want to put that as an I am present statement affirmation. The one that I wrote down was I trust myself in all of my relationships. Okay. So, you would put that inside the center circle of your wheel. Whatever your statement is, mine is I trust myself in all of my relationships. Of course, whatever you write in the center circle is completely up to you, and it's got to fit, it's got to work for you. My affirmation may not be the exact same affirmation that you use, but go ahead and take a moment to write down your affirmation in the center of the circle. Okay, good. Now, how do you feel about that statement? Do you feel like it's 100% yes, or do you feel like, I'm still struggling with this concept, this idea that I trust myself 100% in all of my relationships, or whatever it is that your affirmation was that you wrote down? So, next thing we need to do is actually get on the wheel with our statements that help lead us to believing in that center statement. Okay. The goal is to get yourself to a place where you fully embrace and accept and believe in the statement that you wrote in the center of the circle. If you're already there, change the statement, because you've got to write down something that you're not ready to fully embrace yet. The whole point of a focus wheel is getting there, is getting to that place. The way to get on the wheel after you've already written your affirmative I am statement in the center is to think of some things you already believe about that center statement. Now, if I were to say, I believe 100% that I can trust myself in all choices in relationships, including money, that wouldn't be the right statement. So I wouldn't be able to get on the wheel with that statement. But what I can get on the wheel with is something like this: my feelings and emotions are real and valid. Another way to say that is I am willing to believe in my inner voice. My feelings and emotions are real and valid. So that's what I wrote in the first section. Okay. So that got me on the wheel. My feelings and emotions are real and valid. I do believe that 100%. I feel that my feelings and emotions are real and valid. The second statement that I wrote I'm going to the right. So the second statement I wrote was, I choose to pay attention to my feelings and emotions, or I listen to my feelings with love and compassion. I listen to my feelings with love and compassion. I choose to pay attention to my feelings and emotions. I'm willing to start listening to them more. That's going to get me to a place where I can start trusting myself more. Go ahead and write those down. Okay, so now take a moment to think of your third statement. For me, my third statement was, if something doesn't feel right, it's okay not to make a decision. I've struggled in the past with feeling like I have to make a decision right now in this moment. And what that's done is it's created a lot of anxiety around tests or improv or anything that makes me feel like I'm on the spot. And I shut down. I used to shut down in those moments of feeling like I'm being put on the spot. So what I can do is give myself permission to pause. So what I wrote down with that statement is, if something doesn't feel right, it's okay not to make a decision. And then in parentheses, I added, if it's not 100% yes, it's no for now. I also wrote down, I pause before I respond, which is a phrase that I started saying 2 years ago as my mantra for the year. I pause before I respond. And what I'm learning now in terms of going through this focus wheel is that I've been setting myself up to trust myself more. So I believe in my inner voice. I believe in myself. I pause before I respond. These are all statements that I've been saying to myself to get myself geared up to fully trust my inner voice, to trust my inner guidance, to believe in myself enough to create healthy boundaries and relationships with others, including money. So, my third statement, if something doesn't feel right, it's okay not to make a decision. Or written another way, if it's not 100% yes, it's no for now. Or another way to write that is, I pause before I respond. So, that's statement number 3. So you might be feeling a little bit of discomfort right about now. Like, I'm just not going to get through this. I can't think of any other statements, because that's about when I started feeling mine. Round 4, moving into crossing over onto the other side of my focus wheel. So when I got to that place, I had to pause. I had to take a deep breath. That may be what you need to do right now. If you already have your 4th statement, go ahead and write it down in that 4th section. My 4th statement was, I am the captain of my own ship. I'm the captain of my own ship. My life, my choices. So, what that does for me is give me a chance and an opportunity to recognize that I've let other people steer my ship in the past, including my feelings and decisions and choices around money. My fears around money has steered the ship. My discomfort around talking about money steered the ship. So if I want a new relationship with money, what do I have to do? I have to steer my ship. I'm the captain of my own ship. I decide what decisions, what choices I make. So go ahead and write down your 4th statement, and now really take a moment. Go back and read your first 4 statements. Okay, so now we're rounding the corner to number 5. So what I wrote down for number 5 is, it's okay to say yes or no, even if I'm scared to hurt others. Eesh, that one's deep. I get that one in my guts. And the main reason is because of whatever codependency that I've lived with over the years makes me feel responsible for other people's feelings. So if I'm going to trust myself, I need to stop trying so hard to please others. It's okay for me to say yes or no, even if I'm scared to hurt others. I put in parentheses, I pay attention to red flags. So if I'm getting a red flag around a choice or decision, I have to pay attention. Like, am I trying to make this person comfortable or happy? Okay, then it's okay for me to say yes or no, even if it hurts their feelings. So rounding around to number 6, it's my life. I can trust myself to make healthy decisions and choices for myself, even if it hurts others' feelings. So that was a big one for me. And it feels almost like I couldn't reach it when I first wrote it down, because I really had to go into, what is my inner voice really saying here? Oh, this is where I'm locked up around being able to trust myself. It's my life. I can trust myself to make healthy decisions and choices for myself, even if it hurts others, even if it hurts others' feelings. Not meaning that it's okay to hurt others. It means that it's okay if people aren't comfortable with my choices. It's my life. It's my choice. So I'm kind of feeding off of the last one, but I'm building on that one. So even though I said, on the number 4, I said, my life, my choice. I'm the captain of my own ship. And then I said, it's okay to say yes or no, even if I hurt others' feelings, even if I'm scared to hurt others. And then the next one, it is my life. I can trust myself to make healthy decisions and choices for myself, even if it hurts others' feelings. So that's like the minutia of the tiny little places where the belief systems have created, I don't trust myself to make good, healthy choices in relationships or with money and so on and so forth. Okay. So that's where I started feeling major shift in the brain pattern. My brain synapses are now starting to fall away from an old belief system that says I can't trust myself, to starting to create new relationship, new communication between the synapses, because I felt myself really struggle in that whole corner there. So notice that, pay attention to that, pause if you need to, take a deep breath, get centered, and get back to it. Okay. So the next one that I wrote down is, I am the authority in my life. My feelings matter. And then I wrote in parentheses, I believe in my feelings and my intuition to guide my choices. I am the authority in my life. My feelings matter. I believe in my feelings and intuition to guide my choices. Okay. It's a big one. It's a big one for me. I don't know if it is for you, but it sure was for me. And if this doesn't fit for you, write down what works. Okay. So we're almost finished. We're almost to number 8. Now, in the focus wheel that Abraham Hicks teaches, there's 12 spokes to the wheel. I choose to do 8, especially when I'm doing these videos, because it just gets so long already as it is. And also for me, 8 seems to be a really good, solid, way to do a first focus wheel, or to do a focus wheel on a thought that I have only just connected to or figured out. Later, I can do a 12 spoke wheel if it feels like that's what I'm meant to do. So I'm almost finished with this wheel, and I'm just going to take a little scan. And if you want to, pause the video and just take a moment to look over what you've written so far, see how you feel about it. Notice any changes that you're feeling in your body, in your brain, in your feelings, in your emotions. Are you feeling choked up? Are you feeling tense and tight? Or are you feeling like excited and vibrant and movement happening? Okay, all of those feelings matter. Just listen, let your body and mind kind of guide you, your inner voice, your inner knowing, the genius within you. Let it guide you to how you feel right now about this process. Okay, the last one that I wrote is, my inner voice is very strong. I can trust it to guide me to healthy choices in all of my relationships. So the truth is, my inner voice has always been really strong. I've just chosen in the past not to listen to it because of my fear of hurting other people's feelings, or my fear of making waves, or my fear of discomfort or causing discomfort in others. So my inner voice is very strong. I can trust it to guide me to healthy choices in all of my relationships. And in parentheses, I wrote, including people, money, and experiences. My inner voice is very strong. I can trust it to guide me to healthy choices in all of my relationships. So then what I suggest is go around the entire wheel and read each one. And then before you get to this center spoke, or this center wheel, okay, before you get there, go ahead and read through all of your phrases. Here's mine, all of my phrases till I get to the last one. We're going to just breathe into what we're feeling around this whole thing now. Okay, so when I go to the first statement, I say, I trust myself in all of my relationships. I read through each of those spokes, and then I ask myself, how do I feel right now about this belief? How do I feel right now about the center wheel? Am I willing, ready to completely embrace it? If so, what's the statement that I can do that helps me embrace that center statement? For me, it was, I trust my inner guidance in all things. I trust my inner guidance in all things, which leads me to, I trust myself in all of my relationships. It took a minute for me to get there, but I had to go from, my feelings and emotions are real and valid, which is true. And I believed that at the very beginning, but I didn't know how to trust that, all the way around to, my inner voice is really strong. I can trust it to guide me in healthy choices in all of my relationships. I just got to listen to it. That's trust. So I'm trusting myself that my inner voice is clear and very authentic, and my emotions help guide me to listening to that inner voice. So I trust myself. I trust my inner guidance in all things, which leads me to, I trust myself in all of my relationships. So I hope that focus wheel helped you as much as it helped me. And in the meantime, think about trust. What does trust mean? It's not about trusting others. It's really about trusting yourself and your inner voice and your inner guidance to lead you down a path to connect with people you can trust. Then guess what? You're going to create situations and relationships that you can live with, and trust. So have a blessed and beautiful day. I'll see you next week on Tuesdays with Tara.